welcome to We're So Bloody Early. My name is Jake. I'm 33 years old. I'm a husband and a recent dad. This show is going to be a focus on Bitcoin and how our journeys to this amazing new asset class has affected our lives. I personally have been lucky to work as a broker through my life, an investor, and a couple of failed startups behind me. I'm very excited to start this new project. And these are my two great co-hosts, Matty and Jigs.
Hi guys, I'm Matt. I'm a 35-year-old father and husband, massive lover of sport. I'm an aerospace engineer come entrepreneur. I've been running my own engineering consultancy now for 5 years. I have a diverse range of skills across multiple industry sectors, and that's now led me to my new love, Bitcoin.
And I'm Jigs, 41 years of age, husband, father of three. Worked in the cash and transit industry for 20 years in a labor-intensive job. Recently retired for about a year now. I'm a stay-home dad and a hybrid trader.
Together we're the co-hosts of the We're So Bloody Early show. In the future, you'll expect to hear from some special guests that we get along to talk through their experiences. Hopefully we'll be creating some educational content that brings our friends and family along on this journey as well. And we hope you enjoy. Always reach out if you have any questions whatsoever. Thank you very much. But yeah, we thought we'd do a bit of a debrief based on getting to 12 episodes, set up our YouTube channel for the first time. And yeah, getting to know the three of us a bit better. Matty, still not met in person. Jigsy obviously did relatively recently at a birthday party. He had his Bitcoin t-shirt on. Matty comes up and says, "Mate, what the fuck is that t-shirt?" And then before you know it, down the hole we go. So yeah, let's perhaps just chat through what have our biggest lessons been from the last 11 episodes that we've produced, and some of the highlights that we've had. So yeah, over to you guys. I mean, Jigs or Matty, who would like to jump in first?
Why don't you start first, Jakey?
Okay.
Have you all been?
I had a feeling someone would swing it straight back at me. Yeah, so it's such a fascinating time in our lives in terms of the innovation that is Bitcoin. We are three, relatively young men. We've got some kids or whatever, but I described it to my newsletter recently. I think there's a renaissance for retail investing going on right now. And that is the average man on the street who for so long has been cut out of the kind of the investment world. This whole idea of you have to be an approved investor to get into deals, like it's just nuts, right? So I have to have a certain amount of net wealth to actually buy other investments? Because I can't manage what is mine? It's ludicrous conceptually when you think about it. And the fact is, there's an invention that whoever the hell Satoshi Nakamoto was, he, she, whatever, it is mind-blowing, the different areas of technology that they pulled together in history and philosophy all at the same time to create Bitcoin. And still there's so much misinformation out there about it. The news, you look at the Financial Times, Wired, these guys haven't written a positive story about Bitcoin, full stop. You can search it and it comes up and it's just negative, 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 negative. The status quo does not have any interest in this thing becoming reality. And that's for the super simple reason that you can now store your wealth in something that no one else can touch it. If you have your private keys, you are the only person with access to that Bitcoin wallet. You can travel anywhere in the world and access it again. If you died, no one else is getting them. But most importantly, it cannot be diluted and it cannot be taken away from you. And this is an innovation that's insanely profound. We haven't really understood how big a deal it is. So to get together with the two of you guys, understand the importance of this moment in history and to try and teach some people, absolutely epic. And so, yeah, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you both for all of your time and efforts. Jigsy in particular, the initial suggestion to pull the three of us together, and then equally the work, pumping stuff out on Twitter and doing a bit of editing, etc. That's been really helpful. So what have I learned? I mean, keep asking questions. Everyone brings different things to the table. Don't ever put your nose up at anything. Always be eager to learn. And yeah, just keep fucking bashing down that door, get down the rabbit hole, learn for yourself, learn to fish, as we described so recently. And I look forward to to the next couple of months and years ahead, because it's extremely exciting time.
Yeah, it's
jump in with any comments, boys.
Definitely important to have an open mind. I mean, I remember coming to your house, Jake, you know, before I even knew that you had bought Bitcoin and that, and you just happened to say to me, oh, my wife said that you're into Bitcoin and blah, blah, blah. And you know, it was the first time I was really meeting you, and I just thought, God, Di said you're young. Like, you are so smart for a young guy, and so well traveled. But yeah, it was just hearing your story, and just I had decided that, you know, it's this way. But then to hear you, and I started opening up, and just, you got to just listen to everyone and form your own opinions and your own strategies and everything. But if you got your blinkers on, you won't learn anything. Like, so I've learned so much from you, Jake, especially from your experiences from having, you know, inheriting so much money, and then what you went through. And I mean, like, you've told me a number of times how I'm outperforming, you know, a funds manager, which is, you know, I mentioned that
you're not just
father-in-law, and he
outperforming a
was
fund
like,
manager,
you are.
you're shitting all over them, Jigs. Like, no jokes.
I
Nuts,
wouldn't have known any of that stuff had I not met you and heard your story, you know, like, because there was nothing that I've experienced or, you know, learned from it.
Yeah, it's incredibly impressive. I mean, the investment managers will turn around and say, oh, well, you know, he doesn't understand risk effectively. And, you know, it's different when you're regulated and you have to behave in a certain way with people's money. That is in many ways the beauty of being retail investors. It's our own money. We can do what we want with it. And there are certain things that companies or individuals can't do with other people's money. But either way, the performance is just extraordinary.
It's funny because I've got a self-managed super and then a private portfolio, and the self-managed super is done with a much less risk and, well, much more diversified through gold and silver and property and shit, you know, stocks, everything like that. So much more diversified, less risky, and it's almost outperforming over a shorter period of time my private, you know, just my crypto portfolio. So yeah, it's quite so obviously that skill that Steve has taught me, you can do on both platforms and still perform well.
Yeah, I think one thing that, just listening to you both, and again, not to blow too much smoke up anyone's clacker, but Jigs, the one thing that really resonates with myself is humility. Like, there's a lot of people that like to be a peacock in a room, and it's those that sort of sit there silently. We've spoken a lot about my ability to read people, and I've got a fairly good knack of it. And whether that's, again, a bit like your charts, it might seem like it's a bit of fallacy, but for myself, I know my skill set, and my skill set typically is the ability to read people. And when I mentioned that first night, there was a very calm aura about you, which I interpreted one way. And as I said to you, a mate that was with me interpreted another. My mate thought you were a bit of a fool that wore a Bitcoin t-shirt.
I am a fool.
Yeah. Whereas myself, I interpreted it totally differently. And it was a person that really knew their shit, and more importantly, was really willing to share their wisdom and impart that on me. Whereas you had every right to protect that IP. You know, I did not deserve to have that moment where you actually wanted to share that information. And even to that point, our viewers, you know, the gratitude that we should all have for having someone like both Jake and Jigs on our show is real, because there are not many people in life that are willing to share their secrets. And so that humility that you showed, albeit you've had enormous success, was something that really resonated with me. And I thank you dearly for allowing me to go down that rabbit hole. And you touched on a couple of things, which was, you know, do your own research and diversification, for a better word. And that's what I've really got out of this, listening to Jake and his incredible story and his willingness to be so open. The tragic loss of his father, which undoubtedly has shaped him partly who he is today. You know, his family, learning to become a father, all those new and exciting things. His willingness to change his mindset, I will say that there's been a shift.
I've been working on him slowly.
Yeah, but you know what? And I'm thankful for that. I credit him for that because the language he's used from probably episode 1 to tonight has changed, right? I don't think I'd be speaking out of place entirely there, Jake, but the ability to watch someone
You've watched them grow.
Yeah, and have that ability to adapt and want to grow is essentially what this show's about. You know, if you want to put the hard work in life and you want to learn to fish, well, if you want to cast one net, that's okay. But if you want to feed a village, you might need to cast 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And that's just called hours. You know, doing your own research is hard work. It's not easy. And doing your own research, you'll make some mistakes, as Jigs has said. You'll make some mistakes, as Jake has said, coming across inheritance. People might listen to that and think, oh, how lucky Jake. I actually look at it slightly differently. I thought, what the fuck? A 20-year-old with that level of responsibility, oh my fucking God. And so you listen to people like yourself and Jake, and the thing that I continue to marvel at is, you know, Jake has been open about his willingness to learn, you know, go down the path of starting startups, going down the path of trading, going down the path of selling Bitcoin to a rapper with a, you know, a dodgy car. You know, the crux of what I'm trying to get at is only life experience will allow you to identify who you are. And as you go through life experience, you might have some falls, hopefully you have many successes, but ultimately being open-minded enough to learn and work hard will give you the opportunity to be even listening to something like this. And that's the crux of the story. No matter what it is in life, if you're willing to learn and grow and you're willing to apply yourself, you can probably make better for yourself. And for me, all that has meant for me at this stage is preserving wealth through my hard work is really critical. And a part of that, undoubtedly, is the crypto space, but more importantly, it's certainly Bitcoin. So for me, I've certainly grown enormously by being surrounded by two brilliant men who are supported by a great family. And to that point, you know, we're here on a Sunday night. There's sacrifices that have been made by my family as well. So I thank my wife for giving me the opportunity to continue to learn because time is
also
important.
to believe in you as well. Like, I mean, the reason I am here and what I've done over the last, you know, 12 to 18 months is because my wife just said, I believe in you. And, you know, she's many times she said, I believe in you, and I've buggered it.
I don't believe in myself.
I know, but you know what? I found my way. I found my. Finally, I jumped off the cliff to see if my parachute. I mean, we're all born with a parachute, and some of us are just too scared to jump off and see if it opens. And finally, it opened for me. I found my passion and my purpose. But also, I mean, what's made it easy, and I'm sure you guys will agree with this, is that the crypto space is very inclusive. Like, people in the space generally want you to do well. Like, they all want everyone to do well. 100%. No one's trying to step over anyone to push someone down to get above them or anything. Everyone wants, you know, in the Celsius community or the Bitcoin community, you can ask people, hey, listen, I don't understand this. And people will be willing to help you. I mean, Twitter's been great like that. I've met so many people around the world, whether it be Brazil or Canada or Japan, people I've never met in my life who I've just reached out to, and they've been more than happy to accommodate and help and teach. And that's just why we do this, because we just want to help and teach and bring everyone up to the same level we're at. So it's been a pretty incredible journey, and I hope we continue to do it together.
We probably should have pulled up a little kind of collage of screenshots, but our aim as a trio on starting this was to benefit one person. And we're 12 episodes in now. This is our end of our first season. And how many messages have we received from people that, you know, they were enjoying things? I mean, I've certainly seen a bunch of people, you know, even reposting things on Twitter saying, this is a great episode, you know, have a listen to this. I'm really enjoying these guys' journey. I mean, that is almost, to quote Steve Courtney, it gets the juices flowing. I mean, basically just a bunch of punters at home having a chat in many ways. Like the idea that we're able to help people by sharing this information, sharing these stories, is particularly powerful for me. And this concept of financial freedom is the dream, really, isn't it? Like in a world in which, you know, before going down the Bitcoin Maxi kind of sales pitch, but, you know, money printing is happening at a faster rate than ever before. So for the average person on the average wage to actually stay ahead in life has pretty much become mathematically impossible. And it's only through learning about different things such as Bitcoin that you have any hope whatsoever of getting ahead of that. And yeah, it's just incredibly cool to be able to help people from that perspective. And the fact you can get feedback and speak to these new friends, etc., is absolutely awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been awesome that, you know, like our aim was just to touch one person. You know, we've had guys like on our channel, subscribing to our channel, like UK Bitcoin Master and Yorkie Bitcoiner. Those guys, you know, Merv also has been commenting on our photos, on our YouTube stuff. And then we've had, you know, guys follow us on Twitter. We just wanted to touch one person, and we've touched, it's been crazy, you know, and Steve's helped us the last episode with just reaching out to more people. And then we've all helped family and friends who've watched our show that have come in. I mean, I have someone just today at their house for lunch buy their first bit of Bitcoin. So it's cool. It's like, it's growing, and every week it's someone new, someone that gets on the ship, on the life raft, that just wants to learn a bit more. And
yeah, I think the sentiment for, again, the listeners is we're not trying to shoe anything at, you know, this is purely three young dads on a journey, and all slightly different, but with a common goal, and that is surrounded by family. And, you know, we haven't even gone as far. I think maybe in one of the first episodes, we say at the end, you know, subscribe and like. And this has basically been all organic growth. And a lot of the organic growth aren't subscribers. There's a lot of listeners out there that we have, and that's been a real telltale sign that our message has been pretty pure from the start, and being able to impact one person. Well, I know for a fact, I myself is probably close to 100 people over the last 12 weeks. And that in itself is absolutely incredible, to think that we've had that ability to change.
Maybe you're a proper noob.
Yeah, maybe not people's lives necessarily financially in the moment, but just giving people the opportunity to learn something different and challenge their ways. And I'm talking about boomers, Jigs and Jake. I'm not talking about just the 20-year-old cousin or the 30-year-old employee. I'm talking about people that are fairly concrete in their ways and happy in retirement, that have looked at this and thought, as you just mentioned in the last episode with Steve, is about the generational preservation of wealth. And I marvel at those that in that stage of life have been able to switch their thinking, and I've been able to witness that firsthand. So that's been absolutely amazing.
So to look forwards, and thank you for sharing that, Matty. To look forward slightly, I've just got something on my notepad here, which is the future. We've obviously all, you know, hugely enjoyed this, and shout out to all of our partners for supporting us through the journeys that we've been on, and, you know, encouraging us to even approach this in the first place. What do we think the future has in store? And I don't mean Bitcoin price prediction. I just mean in terms of this project that we're building together. For the guests and listeners out there, or sorry, for the listeners out there, what can they expect from the future, do you reckon? And any ideas or shout outs you want to jump in with?
Yeah, definitely get some more guests on from different angles. I'd love Mark Moss to come on and talk about the history of these cycles. You know, cycles plays a big part in human history and also in Bitcoin, and you know, the stock market and everything else, and growth, you know, in general. So I'd like to get him on. I'd love a bit of philosophy from Robert Breedlove. I think he's a young guy like us, and I just think he's incredible, you know. So there's a few guests that we could get on here, just come in at different angles, which would be great for our listeners that probably have never even heard of these guys or had the opportunity to listen to them.
Well, I've even had someone like Richard from Hex actually personally DM'd me before, and that's actually the real dude. So who knows how far we might go with all of this. But I think the big part for me, following from what Jig said, is about just further education broadly, and having the ability to get different opinions of different people, maybe delve a little bit further into that alternative method of Bitcoin accumulation through alternates. That's something that certainly from my aspect, I've learned a fair bit from watching the hybrid trading of Jigs. And to that point, Jake, I mean,
might be able to get Alex Mashensky on. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Like, why?
I mean, anyone, right? It would be anyone that is able to teach us how to better become financially free is, in my mind, that's what this is all about. I mean, the show is called We're So Bloody Early, just to really ram home the fact that Bitcoin is an extraordinary innovation that's in the second decade of its life, and could well be the base layer of money in 5,000 years from now, in the same way that gold has been 5,000 years prior to today. We happen to be born when it was in like extreme price discovery mode at the very, very birth, and no one knows about it. This is the mad thing, right? How many times do any of us go into a pub, go to a restaurant, meet for, lockdown's not exactly been very helpful for this, but anyone I meet, I basically talk to them about Bitcoin, and the vast majority of them think I'm completely mad. And that is a huge signal as to how early we are.
Oh, huge.
But then equally, on the other side of that, when you jump down this rabbit hole, the access, and this touches on something I've mentioned before, being this kind of retail investment renaissance. And Jigs, you mentioned about Raoul Pal and front-running institutional investors. The ability of the little guy to get ahead of the big money right now has never been quite so good. Like, it's an epic time for the retail investor at home who, traditionally might have a Financial Times subscription and would look at the like buy and sell kind of recommendations in the newspaper. Well, fuck that. Now you've got YouTube. Now you've got podcasts. Now you've got all of these newsletters that are realistically incredibly cheap to get your hands on for extraordinarily high quality research for not only what to buy, but when to buy it. It's like, whoa, this is nuts. And all of the people that you can research in that space are saying this is the best investment opportunity they have ever seen in their lives. And some of these guys are 50, 60-year-old professional investors. And you're like, bring it on. This is insane. But you try and say to someone, guys, you should probably put 1% to 5% of your personal net wealth in Bitcoin as a default. And they look at you like you're a complete fucking clown. And so that's what this is kind of about, right? Is talking about how it will change their lives, whether they like it or not, how they should pay attention, whether they like it or not, but then equally how it is an enjoyable process. And there's a hugely rich kind of group of characters that are involved in the space, and so much rewarding research to actually do from a process of becoming financially free. Been on a bit of a rant there, but yeah, it's
well, Jake, on that note, obviously globally, the last 2 years, the COVID pandemic has really created, I won't go too heavily into politics, but a divide amongst community and on many different aspects, which stands against everything that humanity is meant to stand for. And one thing that the crypto space offers, and I hope we can continue to do, it was just a thought that's gone through my head, is I hope we can create at We're So Bloody Early a community, a community of people that, like us, want to impact that one person. And that will be through the message that we continue to preach. And that's basically being good people that want to help people grow and become the best versions of themselves. So I think one huge KPI for myself will be to grow the We're So Bloody Early community and make people want to feel inclusive, have people reach out to us and ask us for an opinion. Because what we're starting to see is that community is becoming so much more important than it ever has. It was a word that I think had been lost for many years, but you see in Australia at the moment, people starting to really come out of their shells and band
together for freedom,
our liberty and rights. and Bitcoin is a part of that journey. So as we're seeing today, or recently, with communities across Australia fighting for freedom, I'd like to think that We're So Bloody Early can do the same thing, and that's create a community that wants to fight for freedom on many aspects, and financial freedom is a huge part of that.
Yeah, well said, my friend. Well said. Well, boys, any closing comments that you'd like to make as we wrap up season 1?
Look, I've had a lot of fun. Thanks for you guys' time over the last 12 episodes of giving your Sundays up to come and hang out and have a drink. It's been challenging with juggling kids and stuff like that, but we've done it. So yeah, we did it. We made through one season, and let's hope we can bash through a couple more.
Likewise, I'll just quickly on that sentiment. How much fun I've had has just been incredible. My wife's got so much into it. She occasionally comes in and takes a sneaky snapshot with a sense of pride, which is embarrassing me. But
the in-action shot.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got Jigs' dog in the background. Is obviously
mate,
as well. So
the ruckus it was causing last episode.
But no, so just on that note, thank you so much to both of you. I really appreciate your time, because it is valuable, and I've got a real kick out of it. It's broadened my horizons far beyond than I could have imagined going back 6 months ago. So you've had both an enormous impact on my lives, and 2 gentlemen that my children will know about, and their children will know about as well.
Well, awesome, boys. And I couldn't echo your sentiments more. I've had a great time. Thank you so much for everything you've shared and being open and honest. And there's one word that springs to mind that I think struck me during one of your previous comments, Matty, was just about being genuine. We're so bloody early. It's about being genuine. Like, we are telling our honest stories. We want to talk about how things have gone well for ourselves, how things have gone badly for ourselves, and hopefully teach people some different ways of thinking about the world that we've found beneficial and we think will be very valuable to them. So in a world in which, certainly in the crypto space, there's a lot of anonymous accounts that, don't get me wrong, they absolutely have their place. Like, they really do. It's an extremely important thing, privacy. But all 3 of us have chosen to behave in an open way. Now, that could detriment us hugely in the future. Who knows when the government might turn on Bitcoiners? We don't know. But to this date, that hasn't happened. So we're excited to carry on. And thank you both for your time. We'll look forward to the next season.
See you guys. Thanks, Cheers.